Have you ever wondered why Great Danes live half as long as Chihuahuas? It's the opposite of what normally happens in nature when large animals outlive the smaller. Elephants and blue whales live decades, while mice and hamsters live a couple of years. Dogs do things differently from most other mammals, and it all has to do with genetic mutations, energy trade-offs, and a big difference in a hormone that tells the body to grow. Welcome to the channel. I'm Dr. April, a vet that loves digging into new science and medical innovations to share with pet owners so you can be the hero that your pet sees you as. Want more science-backed tips to help your pet live longer that your vet might not have time to tell you about in that 20-minute appointment? Sign up for the free weekly newsletter, link below. Today we're diving into the fascinating biological difference that makes large dogs live shorter lives and what science is doing about it. Scientists have discovered why small dogs are small, and it's all related to a single genetic mutation from wolf DNA that affects the levels of the hormone IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor. Small dogs developed from Middle Eastern wolves shortly after domestication because of this gene mutation. It led to lower levels of the growth-promoting hormone IGF-1. Therefore, the dogs grew less big. Over time, people saw these small dogs, liked them, and bred them to be smaller and smaller, so that genetic mutation stuck around. Wolves and big dogs don't have this genetic mutation, so they have higher levels of IGF. So they grow bigger as puppies. But what's really different and interesting about the big dogs is that they have elevated IGF levels all through their lives, even as adults. Their bodies don't turn off that IGF signal to grow, even after they've done their puppy growth. This is way different from wolves and other mammals. In people, we get our highest levels of IGF that peak in puberty, and they go down over time, leading to quite low levels of IGF in adults and older people. It goes down steadily from puberty to the end of our lives. For large dogs, it's like their bodies are stuck in puberty high growth mode for their whole lives, their bodies unable to take the foot off the gas pedal. Exactly why this happens to the big dogs is still a mystery at this point, but something happened over the centuries of selective breeding for larger and larger dogs to lead to this lack of decline of the IGF hormone in adulthood. It could have started with another gene mutation that led to that high IGF level all through their lives. People recognized these bigger, faster growing dogs. They really liked them. They started to breed them more and more. They needed large hunting partners and dogs for war. But it turns out all this growth is pretty hard on a dog's body, and that's the reason why they don't live as long. When we look at the birth size of a Chihuahua and a Great Dane, and then we compare it to the average adult size, we see something really striking. A Chihuahua is born about 1/4 pound and grows to about 4 pounds. A Great Dane is 1 to 1.5 pounds at birth and grows to about 140 pounds. Males can even be 175 pounds. So for a Chihuahua puppy to reach its adult weight, it has to grow 16 times. For a Great Dane, it has to multiply its birth weight by 100 times to grow to its adult size. If human babies grew like Great Danes, a 7-pound newborn would grow to an almost 800-pound adult. A large breed dog has to put an awful lot of energy into growing such a massive amount. The body can only really focus on growth, and it can't put energy towards normal cell maintenance and repair. A lot of cell damage happens when there's so much metabolism and growth. It's like the body is in a stock car race, going around and around the track as fast as possible, but never gets a signal to pull over for a pit stop. Damage occurs and builds up and isn't repaired like it should be. Now imagine driving at that speed for your whole life. That's what happened when the levels of IGF stay high for an adult. All this cellular damage, combined with a lack of attention to normal maintenance, repair, cleaning up processes in the cell, means our dogs age way too fast and our big guys are gone much too soon. Fortunately, there is hope that we can find a solution. The US biotech company Loyal is developing a drug for longevity that aims to combat these elevated IGF levels. That should slow the aging process down. LOY-001 is a longevity drug specifically for large and giant breeds. And I quote, "It extends the lifespan in part by reducing IGF levels to those seen in smaller breed dogs. The IGF-1 axis is one of the most well-studied longevity pathways. They're treating the shorter lifespan of large breed dogs as an accelerated aging disorder. The drug has passed the first step of the expanded conditional approval process, with the FDA saying that there's a reasonable expectation of effectiveness. Loyal needs to show safety and consistent manufacturing, and they'll be able to put the drug on the market even with a conditional approval. There isn't an expected date yet. Loyal actually has a second drug in development for dog longevity expected out at the end of 2025, and it works in a completely different mechanism from this one. Watch this video for details on how it works and tips that you can do at home for your pets to have the same benefit. Unfortunately, there's nothing that we can do at home for our large breed dogs to decrease those levels of IGF, but that doesn't mean that there aren't things that we can do keep them healthier and living longer. For large breed puppies and adults, the number one thing that you can do to keep them living longer and healthier, keep them lean and exercise too. Dogs that are a lean, healthy weight live longer, and they have less joint problems too. You can check your dog's body condition score by feeling the ribs. We want to be able to feel each individual rib, count them even. We basically want to feel like there's a t-shirt covering over those ribs, not a big sweater. But we also don't want to be able to see those ribs from across the room. That can be a little too lean. We should be able to see a tummy tuck from the side and from above behind the rib cage. For puppies, a puppy food specifically for large breed puppies is less calorie dense. Try and slow that growth down a bit. But they also have the appropriate levels of protein for a growing body and the critical calcium and phosphorus ratio that puppies need for growing to avoid developmental bone and joint problems. Use extreme caution with a homemade diet for a large breed puppy because this calcium and phosphorus ratio is critical to get right. Only do a homemade diet if you're consulting with a veterinary nutritionist and you can be consistent. Adult dog food diets don't have the ideal levels of calcium, phosphorus, and protein, even though some people will feed them because they are less calorie dense and people think that it will help slow that growth. Puppy food is better for puppies. All stages dog foods are formulated to meet the minimum requirements for puppies, but they may not have the ideal levels for these large breed puppies. Talk to your vet about food options and about how to accurately assess your dog's body condition. It's very important. Exercise is great for health and longevity too, but for large breeds, there is a couple of important considerations. In large breed puppies, avoid endurance and impact exercise until the growth plates in their bones have closed, which means the bones are no longer growing. In some giant breeds, that can be a year and a half of age, even potentially up to 2 years of age. There is recent scientific evidence that delaying the spay and neuter in large and giant breed dogs until they are fully mature, with their skeletons no longer growing, can help to prevent some bone and joint problems and some cancers as well. Watch my video about the timing of spay-neuter for more details about this, especially if you have a golden retriever, because they are especially tricky to get that timing right. For adults, regular exercise is great, but use caution with that endurance and high-impact exercise. It's important to closely monitor for age-related diseases and realize that a 7-year-old Great Dane, Bernese Mountain Dog, or Newfie has different needs and risks than a 7-year-old Chihuahua. Visit the vet more frequently and consider doing screening tests earlier than you would for a small breed dog. Consider supplements and nutrition to decrease inflammation, provide antioxidant support, and keep joints healthy. For a lot of these big guys, it ends up being arthritis and pain that we can't manage that leads to euthanasia. You're welcome to grab a copy of my quick start guide to the science-backed pet supplements, linked below. It does have an entire section of which science-backed joint supplements work the best. Most critical, keep them lean, exercise but not going too hard with it, good nutrition, consider some supplements, and really keep an eye on them. Talk to your vet about strategies to keep the big guys with you for longer, and check out this video next that talks about a joint supplement that's better than glucosamine for treating arthritis.